In this video, I'm going to go over the new changes to the reintroduction schedule for the AIP diet, or Autoimmune Paleo diet, that Dr. Sarah Ballantyne put out just a couple of weeks ago. So a few weeks ago, we found out that Dr. Sarah Ballantyne had changed the reintroduction schedule, just kind of adding a couple things in different spots and moving some things around. And so I just wanted to update you on that in case you are about to go on to reintroductions or are thinking about it, that kind of thing. There are two really big ones on here that you may be very excited about, and that is that coffee and chocolate. Coffee on an occasional basis and chocolate has been moved to stage 1. So that's an exciting one. That's if you are on AIP elimination right now, that's something to look forward to. So for the changes that have been made, Sarah made these changes because there were compelling reasons for introducing something a little bit earlier than she had originally said. She bases all of her stuff off of research, scientific research, a lot of different studies and stuff to just determine what really affects people with autoimmune disease, what causes inflammation, what causes leaky gut, especially in those of us with autoimmune disease. So things like that are stage 1 reintroductions are typically the ones that are not as bad, like per se, like the ones that aren't going to cause as many problems, the ones that most people can tolerate kind of thing. Whereas when you get up to stage 4, those are the ones that you may not want to even try to reintroduce, and ones that more people are going to have reactions to. The stage 4 ones are also ones that you're going to want to do after you've done a lot more healing. So as you've progressed through stage 1, 2, 3, by the time you get to stage 4, you may be able to tolerate some of these things. Whereas if you would try them, if you tried them right after going in the elimination phase, you may not have been able to tolerate them. I'm not going to go over all of the things that you can reintroduce in each stage because you can find that information. I have that information in my Paleo Freebie library and you can find it elsewhere. I'm just going to go over the changes, and the AIP starter guide that I do have in my Freebie library has been updated with these changes. Okay, so for the changes for stage 1, the first one is that you can have coffee on an occasional basis. And again, you're reintroducing this. This may not work for you. I'm not going to say, hey, have coffee. This is a reintroduction. You're still going to be looking out for the symptoms. Symptoms can range the gamut of all kinds of stuff, but they can be things like gas, bloating, mood changes, whether you feel like really kind of depressed or irritated, things like that. You can have brain fog. I mean, just so many different things. So you're going to look out for that. The reason Sarah put coffee in here is because she said, even though it can be pro-inflammatory for some and anti-inflammatory for others, there is some compelling arguments that it can help the microbiota of your gut. So occasional basis, especially because one thing you're going to want to look out for with coffee is blood sugar imbalances. If you drink coffee and you notice you have like sugar cravings later in the day, or if you have like just more need for sugar, or you're starting to eat more, that kind of thing, or if you get that 3 o'clock in the afternoon tiredness again that you may not have had for a while, it could be the coffee. So I definitely recommend with the coffee one that it is a full week reintroduction. Rather than some of the reintroductions in stage 1, I say 72 hours can sometimes work, but I think coffee on the occasional basis, you're gonna definitely wanna do it like one day and then maybe do it again later on in the week, and then wait a couple more days before you do anything else in other reintroductions, just to see if there's any issue. We'll get more into the coffee thing in stage 2, because that's gonna be when you get to have it on a daily basis. But hold on to that for a minute. The other reintroduction that is important in stage 1 is chocolate or cocoa. So you can have chocolate, like chocolate bars kind of thing, or cocoa powder. Now, chocolate, make sure that it's not going to have milk solids in it, that it's not too high in sugar. Like a dark chocolate is really ideal in this situation. Make sure there's no soy lecithin or any of the other kind of things that you wouldn't want to have on AIP. Again, this is still a reintroduction, so we're not going to go have milk chocolate bars. We're going to go and have it very controlled. I would recommend that you try cocoa first and then try chocolate, just because that way you can control everything that's in it. And again, you're going to be looking for the same kind of things as with coffee, that you're not going to have increased sugar cravings because there is a little bit of caffeine inside of chocolate. And then also things like anxiety, nervousness, just all of these kind of things can happen if you have these like issues. Like some people have genetic predisposition towards having issues with caffeine. And so you may want to play around with this a little bit. In coffee, when I'm saying coffee, it is caffeinated coffee, but maybe you want to try out decaf first and see how that works for you. And then if you're okay with decaf, then maybe try caffeinated coffee. These things, again, these are all highly individual, but when you really are taking the time to go through the elimination phase of AIP and then want to see how things affect you, it does pay off to take the time to go through reintroductions very methodically and find out exactly what does affect you, because you don't want to get 3 months down the line and start having symptoms again and wonder what the heck it was that caused that. Dr. Ballantyne added cocoa back into the diet because they are very high in polyphenols, and polyphenols have been shown to like regulate the microbiome. So, which is a very great thing when you have autoimmune disease and you're trying to heal your gut. So, compelling argument to include it a little bit earlier. All right, for stage 2 reintroductions, the change that has been made is that coffee has now been added on a regular basis. And this is where we're talking again about making sure you're not getting into those sugar cravings or weird tiredness around 3 o'clock, adrenal fatigue kind of symptoms creeping back in. I would definitely try this, like you have coffee every single morning for at least a week, if not longer, and then see if any of those things start to creep back in, or if you have any other issues like we talked about. Also in stage 2, cashews and pistachios had originally been a stage 3 introduction. Those were considered to be nuts, but they're actually drupes. And so if you have any issues with poison oak, poison ivy, those kind of things, you may want to use caution and maybe introduce them later. However, for the rest of you, then you can go ahead and reintroduce those in stage 2. Dr. Ballantyne decided to make the change because pistachios especially have a certain kind of fibers that are uniquely beneficial to the microbiome. So again, gut flora, happy gut flora is a good thing in autoimmune disease. Okay, on to stage 3. 2 of the big ones that are on here is that you can have white potatoes and dairy. Now let me get into these. So white potatoes have to be peeled in stage 3. They were originally a stage 4 reintroduction. And the reason that Dr. Ballantyne moved these nightshade family foods into stage 3 was because white potatoes are a resistant starch, a prebiotic, that are especially beneficial to the microbiota of your gut. So again, are you sensing a theme here? We are really working on gut microbiota and making sure that it is beneficial and in helping you out. So things have kind of gotten moved around a little bit to try to help out with that. But again, it may not work for you, so don't get upset if you can't have it. Again, maybe take it out for a couple more months, try it again, and then it's not like it has to be in your diet. These are beneficial, but it's not like they're necessary. And then the other stage 3 change was for dairy. This is a pre-qualification that has to be grass-fed dairy. You really, really want to make sure that it's high-quality grass-fed, regular fat, high-fat dairy, not low-fat, like from a CAFO kind of stuff. That's out, not that. Quality grass-fed dairy, and so there's either cheeses, milks, all of these different kind of things. And the reason that Dr. Ballantyne put these in is because they're high in CLA, or conjugated linoleic acid, which again is really great for your microbiota composition and also reduces inflammation and can help with chronic disease. With dairy, you especially want to be careful because a lot of people that have issues with gluten, like if you're celiac or have issues with like the gluten protein, you may have issues with the casein protein. So do be aware of that. Like if you can incorporate it, great, but a lot of people are not going to be able to. So experiment with it, see what happens. But again, this one is, even if it's a stage 3 rather than a stage 4, I recommend that you wait like 2 weeks after introducing dairy before you reintroduce anything else, if possible, just to make sure that there are no issues. Some of these later stage reintroductions can really get very, very hard to discern because sometimes they take a little bit longer to really kind of like flesh out that you're having issues. And so I typically recommend like stage 1, you do 75 or 72 hours to about a week for reintroductions, each one. And then when you get to the stage 3 and 4, you start spacing it out to 1 to 2 weeks. In stage 4, I really say like sometimes up to a month before you reintroduce something else, just because, like for my example, corn, for example, I don't really have issues when I have corn once. If I have corn twice, sometimes. But then I start seeing it every, if I have it for a couple of weeks at a time, and that's when I start getting flares. So it is one of those things where stage 4 reintroductions, like the grains and the dairy, well, dairy's now stage 3, but all of those kind of things can take a while to really figure out. So I recommend taking your time. Again, this is the rest of your life you're talking about. A couple of weeks is really not going to make that much of a difference in you think of years, if you can really discern what's going to cause you issues. So those are all the changes for the reintroductions right now. In my Paleo Freebie library, I'll go ahead and make sure that I actually have the entire list of reintroductions so you can go ahead and see everything that you can reintroduce in each stage. And again, it'll be in my AIP starter guide. It's already updated in there as well. And if you're in my Autoimmune Collective membership site, this is already going to be updated. I'm going to update the videos tomorrow, so you'll have everything you need to know from stage 1 through stage 4 in detail. So that'll be in the Autoimmune Collective as well. So Paleo Freebie library to get the list, and in the Autoimmune Collective, the videos and the list and everything will be updated tomorrow. So I will see you guys next week.